Many of the trainable retarded can learn to take...
No, I didn't.
I saw it wasn't playing.
That's what I was checking too.
He did not start.
That's fine.
Usually, the mentally retarded are divided into classifications. The educable,
It's funnier the second
the
time.
trainable, and the custodial. Obviously, we can only assess the abilities or potential of the mentally retarded on an individual basis. Seemingly random motions and movements are fairly common among the custodial retarded, and they may take many forms. Sometimes there are motions which seem to have no meaning whatever and may even cause unintentional self-inflicted injuries. The vast majority of the mentally retarded are intelligent enough that they can be taught a great many things. However, there's a wide range of ability even among those considered educable. And their ability to learn obviously varies according to their level of intelligence. Equally important is a stimulating environment. However, we must remember to set realistic standards that are not too high for the individual. Many of the trainable retarded can learn to take certain kinds of household responsibilities, some of which may be more complex than they are usually given credit for. It would be wrong to expect a mentally retarded person to become a master craftsman. The standards are too high. But even in the skilled trades, for example, the mentally retarded can be trained to become valuable assistants. Who are the mentally retarded? They are people. They come in both sexes and in all sizes, shapes, creeds, and colors. Wherever people live, there also live the mentally retarded.
Damn.
They're everywhere. They're among us.
That look with the pen, man. That's
Shout out
terrible.
to the Dilly meme team putting this together.
Dang.
I saw it on Infowars, which is going to be a story for tonight. But
Oh yeah.
let me switch us over here. How you doing, boys? We had a little rough start there, but we're here. We got it going.
Yeah, doing good. It's a Tim show. I'm excited, and I haven't had a chance to look over any of this, so this is cold reaction. We've had a hell of a news week.
How come every time I run a show, it's always a cold reaction for you? You never look at the notes.
Because I've had job interviews this week, and I've had like 4 cases thrown on me this week. Get off my dick, Tim.
Well, we got Leighton here with us tonight. Kind of surprised me last minute. What's up, dude?
Yeah, I had an hour or so to kill. Figured I'd hop on and see what all you guys were up to.
Just talking shit about the news, hanging out. After we finally got the LP stuff out of our blood, out of our system, we're ready to move on.
Yeah.
Maybe you have the LNC's meeting tonight, so I'll give a report on that next time around. We'll see if that's
great.
out of everyone's blood. I don't think it is.
No,
Are those meetings public?
they should be. Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely are public.
Yeah,
I gotta figure out how to listen to that. I'm sure that's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, it's at
I
7
believe
o'clock
they're-
my time, 8
I
o'clock
believe
Eastern.
they're all on the YouTube channel. I think they post them all there.
Yep.
Oh,
So
Definitely
really,
checking that out.
yeah.
I
So
went
let's-
and saw one in person. I was at the one they had at the end of the convention. I was like one of the few people who hung around.
Yeah. What was Oh shit! I almost knocked my drink over. What's been new with you, Leighton?
Well, I got back, decided to run for this state rep position over here in my district, which I wasn't going to run for anything, but there was only one person running, and she's a Republican who's hated by all the Republicans. So I was like, well, seems like a decent opportunity. So decided to do that. So I'm going to be kind of focusing on that stuff and getting the documentary I've got going finished and all that. So
That's a huge announcement. Thanks for stepping up and running as a libertarian. Yeah, that's huge. And you're not running against Denali the cat, so I mean, you have a good chance of winning.
Yes, I believe it was one from the Alaska delegation who put that name down. But I do believe Denali the cat has
passed away.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Is no more.
I actually ranted a little bit about the convention in my open mic set last night, and someone informed me that Denali the cat passed away, and I then immediately
there is a new cat mayor.
Oh, there's a new cat mayor? Oh,
yes,
see,
there
the
is.
joke keeps going. This is awesome. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
I believe the new one, I forget the name, but it's something punny. But yeah.
So
named after a different mountain.
Yeah,
so I've got like a logistical question. How are you going to run for office in Alaska when you're moving to Florida?
Oh,
how's
shit.
that work?
all right.
Whoa,
So yeah, I talked about this actually with Jeremy Kaufman sort of on the interview I had with him earlier, but I'm gonna basically I have a business I'm starting at the end of this season here, and that's gonna be generating some money. I can take that money, start something over in Florida. My plan is sort of to kind of start a business here in the 3 states that I think are doing the most work, which is Florida, here, and New Hampshire. So, but Florida is like someplace I enjoy, so it's someplace I do want to legitimately have a place. I'm just going to set it up correctly. I don't want to. And right now, with like what's going on here, like it's more of a money thing. Like, it's not cheap to just pick up and go, and so I have like an opportunity to get loans and stuff to start a business, so I can do that. Or I can like take off, which means building up all that stuff back over again. So it's just sort of like a weird situation.
Yeah, it's hard to turn down that free check you get from the Alaskan government each month, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's actually one of the topics of me running, is because the woman I'm running against was one of the people who voted against it. But the PFD check's a contentious thing right now because the state's been fucking taking chunks of it now for the past 10 years. So been a whole shit show.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Well, are you drinking with us? I know Rob's drinking. I know I'm drinking. Are you?
I don't have any booze here in my apartment. Just
go milk a moose, man. Get some alcohol out of it that way.
I drank yesterday and the day before.
That's all right. What do you got, Rob?
I got some White Russian going on, some Kahlua mixed with some coffee, trying to stay awake. I got a lot of work to do tonight. Got the LNC meeting got to stay up for, and just takes a little bit of the edge off. Mm-hmm. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine rolling into it.
I can never do any of those meetings without drinking. So
there you go.
Yes, definitely drink.
I might do the Marcus Morales route and just.
That's right, dude. Just start talking shit.
How we're supposed to spread liberty and just go on a drunk rant like that. I forgot what he was ranting about, but 2 years ago he showed up to like a Florida exec board meeting, all wasted.
It was great. I was texting him. I was like, "Are you all right?"
Yeah, he didn't get a chance to talk until like an hour and a half into the meeting, so he probably was like expecting to talk a little bit earlier, and he was just like,
"He had some pre-game time."
Oh yeah, it was a very contentious meeting.
Yeah, it was.
Anyway. I'm drinking this Savannah bourbon. I think you missed it last time, Rob. You said I'm only allowed to promote local shit. This is about as local as it's gonna get.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. That's cool. I actually just slipped in Kahlua, so I'm breaking my own rules around here.
That's all right. Well, boys, the top story tonight is something I'm sure you guys all already know about, which is Donald Trump's guilty verdict that came out very recently. Let me pull up this screen here so everybody else can follow along. Trump was convicted on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. They upgraded it to a felony by basically saying it was his intent to commit additional crimes. Some interesting stuff that I didn't know about this that I went ahead and looked up, and they're in my notes here. I should have passed these notes to Leighton, so I'm talking to Leighton. Rob can read. Mm-hmm. In 2017, Cohen and Alan Weisselberg, or however you say his name, came to an agreement about how Cohen was going to be repaid the $130,000 that he paid to Stormy Daniels as hush money payment or whatever for her silence regarding the affair. There was an additional $50,000 that was added to that payment for some unrelated tech business that nothing to do with Stormy Daniels. It was just some other money that Trump owed Cohen. And then that now $180,000 then got doubled to $360,000 to account for any taxes that may have been came as part of this. And then another $60,000 on top of that was added as a bonus to Cohen for his legal services. So this total payment ended up being $420,000. Only $130,000 of that was related to the Stormy Daniels situation. Yeah. So this was agreed to be paid in increments of $35,000 per month over the next year. And that's how we end up with 34 counts. Because I was wondering that too. Like, if you illegally sell a pack of cigarettes on the side of the road, they could hit you probably with 28 counts of trying to sell cigarettes because you're trying to sell each individual cigarette, right? So I was wondering how they broke that down. This article that I pulled from CBS is where I got a lot of this information from. And they break it all down right here. This is that section. And basically what it's showing is the first two payments were lumped on the same invoice. So that was one count. But because it was two installments, there were two vouchers. That's 2 and 3. And then count 4 was the actual check that was deposited to Cohen. So that one payment broke out into four counts. And they did that across the board for every payment made throughout the year. I thought that was important because it shows you how the state could be weaponized against you very easily. But also the breakdown of the money and what it actually paid for. You know, the 300 and half of it, legitimately half of it, was just to pay taxes. Nothing to do with Stormy Daniels. Was to pay taxes.
You mean theft?
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So it's a weird situation because I said this, I think, at the convention to somebody. We were discussing this exact thing, and I said, I think ultimately what has happened here is, yes, these charges are horseshit in the sense that I don't think anybody in their right minds thinks what has gone on there should have been illegal.
Right.
The way that they have weaponized this is the same they would against, like a drug kingpin or anybody else who's dealing with like white collar or blue collar crime. This kind of like fraud investigations and stuff like that. It's similar to that where they're like, well, you have this one point of interaction which we can turn into 3-4 different charges. Which you see like with the IRS whenever they charge somebody, it's the same way. It's like, oh, they go, hey, you signed this one document that's connected to these 3 payments. Well, that's 3 separate charges. It's fucking wild, like the way that it can be turned against people. It really does remind me of like a courtroom drama. Right. Version of the law, like we're gonna stack charges against you, basically, like that throw the book at them kind of a good cop bad cop routine.
Yeah, and the way they did it too, by like upgrading it to felonies, was basically what they had to do was they were trying to prove that he falsified all these records in an effort to commit another crime. And then they didn't even specify what other crime he tried to commit. They kind of left that open to your interpretation. They gave him like three different options during the sentencing process. Said that it could have been that he was violating federal campaign finance laws. It could have been falsification of other business records in relation to this, or he could have been masking what it was for just to violate some tax law, even though he paid an extra 50% or doubled the payment just to cover that. But so they kind of left it up to the interpretation of the jury as to what those additional felonies might have been. That he was trying to, or the additional crimes that made this a felony. The whole thing is just like ridiculous and convoluted and a big bunch of bullshit.
So much of it is based on Cohen, who is this guy who's admitted to basically lying to every person he's basically talked to.
Lied in front of a Congress.
And is also admitted now under oath, which not that really matters much to him anyway. But is admitted to stealing money from Trump and basically taking money from him. And so when I see these numbers and how big the numbers are, I'm going, oh, well, that's what that is. It's him going, well, you don't owe me 150 grand. You owe me 300 grand now. You owe me 350 grand. Now you owe me 370 grand. And it just keeps going up and up and up because he knows eventually Trump will have to pay him whatever the number he basically comes up with. Otherwise, he becomes this enemy that can go out and squeal. And so what has happened basically is it seems to me he got the money and still went out and squealed because obviously there were enough operatives behind closed doors that could convince him that doing so was beneficial to him because he was facing charges.
Yeah, the last payment, according to what the prosecution put up, like this, is what's on this screen right here. According to this, the last payment was in 2017, so this was well taken care of way before the case even got brought. So yeah, he got his money. Yeah,
he got paid, and then he went in after the fact and squealed. Which, by the way, is no difference than the porn star, I might add. She did the exact same thing. She got paid, she got her cut, then he won the presidency, he got all this fame and got into this person that could be targeted by somebody like her. And I guarantee you what happened there is just like the E. Jean Carroll thing. Somebody came up to them in a room and said, hey, listen, we've got these book deals, we've got these media tours, we've got this set up for you. All you got to do is make sure this goes correctly. And that's how the game of politics is played in the legal world. Like, that's where the intersection is. Which shouldn't really exist, but I think, as an outside observer, I watch a lot of trials and stuff because I find it to be fun, and I'm like, oh, this is just evident all the time. Even in, like, state courts here, I see it. So it's got to, you figure on a federal level, it's got to be just completely bad shit.
Danielle was saying it's criminal being charged for the same crime over and over again. And then more coming in with the fire. Dude caught felony charges for paying way too much for a sex with woman who's been ran through more than a Jack in the Box drive-through. Should have just let it go public.
Yeah, it's not $35,000 a month pussy. That's for goddamn sure. That's a lot of money.
You can get like a top-notch escort for like $1,500 in most major cities. Inflation's a killer, I'm sure, for those things.
What about in Alaska? How much do they run in Alaska? You get some big burly bitch up there.
Well, I know in my city for a fact there are no escorts that I know of. So you'd have to drive to the city, which is about 125 miles away. So I'm sure there are oil workers on this side of the state that are doing that, but I ain't interested.
Yeah.
The oil workers are the escorts.
They single-handedly supply an entire industry with income.
Oil come. Okay. All right, here we go. We're having fun.
So I don't know. I don't think the case against him was pretty strong. I think I don't remember which one of you said it earlier. I don't think this should have been a crime anyway. But the fact that they're using the state in this way against a political enemy just to, prove a point or just to stifle a campaign or whatever, I think that's ridiculous as well. Somebody else is going to see a courtroom here pretty soon. Did you guys see Hunter Biden is going on trial?
I think it started today.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, this is the latest update on that.
It's the first time the child of a sitting president has gone to trial. The first witness being heard right now in the historic trial of Hunter Biden, the younger Biden, is accused of 3 felony charges after obtaining a firearm in 2018 when prosecutors say he was in the throes of drug addiction. Those same prosecutors telling the jury no one is above the law. It doesn't matter who you are or what your name is. Our national correspondent and my co-anchor here on ABC News Live, Terry Moran, is outside court there in Wilmington, Delaware. So, Terry, we understand that an FBI agent has now taken the stand. Bring us up to date. What have we learned so far?
Well, Kira, they've just broken for lunch, but yes, this FBI agent was bringing the jurors through and beginning the prosecution's case with Hunter Biden's own words in his own voice, much of it, reading the audio. They played the audio book version read by Hunter Biden of his memoir, Beautiful Things, and the passages where he describes his flagrant, over-the-top, debauched addiction to crack cocaine. This is a man who has recovered from addiction, he says, and part of that, of course, is taking responsibility and owning up to what happened, and that's what these passages were. I must say his daughter and his mother, the First Lady, Jill Biden, were both very emotional at times while these passages were being played. But the prosecution's trying to show that this was a man who had no business purchasing a firearm. that he was clearly, they said in their opening statement, that he was smoking crack every 15 to 20 minutes from the moment he woke up until the time he went to sleep.
He was throwing it down.
Now, in opening statements, I should say, the defense lawyer said
that's a Florida-sized problem.
He's found a hole in the prosecution's evidence that Hunter.
So, like, the details of the case, I mean, that'll all come out over the next couple of days. This is just the most recent news report that was pulled up on it. I wanted to get it to here because this is kind of the important part. 2 felony charges related to allegedly lying about drug use when purchasing a firearm. There's forms that you got to fill out to actually to purchase a firearm in a lot of states, and then 1 felony charge for actually possessing the gun by a drug user or addict. So those are the charges that they're coming after him with.
That's kind of weird, Tim. That's kind of weird, Tim, because in Florida you have to smoke crack in order to purchase a firearm. So we're just doing things backwards here, I guess.
It's a legal requirement.
Yeah, I don't know what other state he should have came to Florida.
So, like, here's the bet he doesn't end up with a felony. Danielle kind of beat me to it. Do you guys think that Hunter Biden is actually going to get prosecuted on these crimes like Donald Trump was? In this one, again, I think it's a case where I don't think this law should fucking exist. I don't think like I think you should be able to own a gun pretty much.
And smoke crack. You should be able to smoke crack.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Firearm, right?
Listen. I'll take that stand. Yes.
It's not a good thing. We don't agree with it.
The Constitution says nothing about my crack aptitude when I purchase a firearm.
That's right. Shall not be infringed. What do you not understand, motherfucker? like that's kind of the position, right? So I get that, but that's not the law. And in the case of what the law actually is, he very clearly broke the law. He admits to being on crack during this whole thing. They're using his own words in his own voice against him, saying that he was addicted to crack at the time that he owned the gun. They're using his book, his memoir, and his laptop. The laptop that wasn't actually his, it didn't really exist. They're pulling that out too.
Wait,
and they're saying no,
it wasn't his laptop. They said it didn't. Yeah, they said it didn't exist.
Well, it's being used in a court case against him. So,
but why not? Okay, I'm fully on board with you, and that this should not be what they're coming after him for. Like, why not go after him for the ties with Ukraine and getting millions of dollars for shitty paintings?
Yeah,
that he did while he was on crack, which it should also be. You shouldn't be able to sell art if you're.
They're probably valuable now, right?
Yeah, probably valuable now, but using that as payment to basically buy favor with foreign officials of China and Ukraine, like that's gotta be something that needs to be investigated. Not owning a gun while smoking crack every 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's the lawfare. It's the Republicans fighting back legally, I think, in whatever jurisdictions they can, which I'm not in favor of weaponizing the legal system in any way. But if one side's going to use it, the other side has to use it. So there's some sort of a balance here. I think that's what's going on.
Yeah. And like a blah, blah, blah is saying here, you commit 3 felonies a day. Well, Hunter Biden definitely was. That was his comment. But yeah, so what do you guys think the chances are of him actually being found guilty, though?
Not high. Well, no. Okay, so I think he'll be found guilty, but I don't think he'll be found guilty of felonies. I think he'll probably get found guilty of lesser charges to an extent, or he'll be found guilty on one, but not the rest. Right. But they'll make whatever his sentence is going to be basically null and void. It's going to be meaningless.
I mean, they're going to have to I don't know what the question is whenever he goes to purchase a firearm. Is it, have you used crack within the last, week or last 30 days or any kind of drugs within a certain amount of time?
Yeah, I mean, it's a basic federal form that asks, like, are you addicted to drugs or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, what is addiction? Let's
it
talk
depends
about
on what the definition of is.
Yeah, I was snorting rocks and fucking whores, dude. I'm having a good time. I could stop at any time.
Yeah,
I don't know. He probably has admitted he was addicted to it.
Well, this is going to be a lot quicker case than the Trump trial. The expectation right now is that it's only going to take 1 or 2 weeks to get a sentence out of this whole thing. The maximum sentence that he's facing for these 3 counts is up to 25 years in prison. I definitely don't think he's going to get that.
No way.
There's a couple things that could happen between now and then. He could get a plea deal. He could plea out. He could plead guilty. And, he's already pled not guilty, but he could change his plea to guilty at some point during this and get a lesser sentence, get probation, get something like that. And then there's also the fact that his father is the president. So he could just get fucking pardoned right out of this thing. So he could be found guilty and then pardoned later. So, all those things are kind of what's happening. And I see Rob's already moved down to it, but right after this, he's got another case in California for tax evasion or some kind of tax crime, not paying all of his theft.
Yeah, not paying all of his theft, probably from a lot of that art, right? You got to get some of that if he's a resident of California.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know
it's
either.
It's gonna be interesting, man. I'm looking forward to. My personal take on it is I don't think that he's gonna be found guilty. I don't think that there's going to be a serious punishment. Like Leighton was saying, I think that he might be found guilty, but the punishment is going to be like nothing. It's going to be like probation or time served or some bullshit. And whatever it is, if the jury comes back and they're just, because like right now there's a lot of stuff going against him. Like they had some addiction doctor that was supposed to come take the stand for the defense and basically say, no, he had just finished a rehab program and was not actively addicted to drugs at the time that he bought the gun. The judge just threw that out and said, no, we're not going to allow that kind of testimony in court. So it's already kind of moving against him. So
just like the prosecutor seems like he's going after him. So it seems like the DA was weaponizing the Trump case and the jury of his peers, New York jurors and all this.
Yeah.
Wherever this case is taking place, it seems like they have shopped around and
yes,
and found a good spot for it.
His punishment's going to be that he has to stop bringing coke to the White House.
Yes.
Come on, Dad.
Yeah.
Only a little bit.
Well, it does play into like, Josh Smith ran on like a campaign of vengeance, right? And like a lot of people want Trump to persecute the political enemies of the right when he gets reelected, if he gets reelected. So like this kind of plays into that whole battle of using the state as lawfare against each other, against the other side, and trying to prosecute your enemies on crimes that may or may not be legitimate.
For sure, a lot more of these officials who just willy-nilly put restrictions on the citizenry should go to prison or at least face some sort of punishment, which is a great segue, Tim, to our next topic. Yeah, I see what you did there. That was really good.
Oh, I just get ready. I thought this was a perfect freeze frame. Just him with his fucking tongue out. But let me set this up. So another person that was being persecuted or put on trial in some sort of fashion was Fauci. Did you guys get to watch any of this?
I got to see some of it. Yeah. I
watched some clips.
Okay, so you guys did the lazy thing. I watched the whole thing at work. It was great.
I haven't been back to work since it happened. I'll probably listen to it tonight.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, you'll see the highlights here. I've got them all pulled out. But basically, the TLDR that I put on our Twitter account was, Republicans are saying you lied to us. We know you lied. You belong in jail. Like that was the whole thing against Fauci. And then the Democratic side was like, you're a hero. You've been a public servant forever. These people are coming after you for nothing.
They're like, you saved millions of lives. Republicans
are
like, you killed millions of people.
Many times. Yes. So I've got the opening statement here from the chairman of the committee that's investigating I think what they're supposed to be investigating is one, the lab leak theory to see like how legitimate that is. And then also, lessons learned from COVID, what we could do better next time and all that kind of stuff. And Danielle's skipping ahead here, but I do have a clip from Marjorie Taylor Greene and it was fire. And we're definitely going to be watching that. But I just want to play. Yeah, go ahead.
It's hard not to like MTG.
Oh, dude, she
when she does stuff like this.
Yeah, she makes politics entertaining, and I appreciate it. So this first clip here, this is Chairman Winstrup. I cut off a lot of his opening remarks because he was just like LP bullshit, just like laying out the bylaws and the rules for the meeting and all shit. So I got to the good part, and I think he laid out the let's call it moderate Republican case against Fauci.
While policy decisions should have been based on scientific data, some frankly were not. The burdensome 6-foot social distancing rule did not have sufficient scientific report. In your words, it just sort of appeared. Distancing made sense, but the 6 feet was arbitrary. Even Dr. Collins said he still hasn't seen any empirical evidence to support the 6-foot rule. A rule that shut down schools and businesses.
Watch.
A rule that will have negative ramifications for decades.
We need to get that Rumble
As the
channel
pandemic
going.
wore on, more mandates also just sort of appeared. But the American public didn't get to see the scientific data to support these mandates. Americans were aggressively bullied, shamed, and silenced for merely questioning or debating issues such as social distancing, masks, vaccines, or the origins of COVID. Many Americans were willing to comply with the 15 days to slow the spread and understood the necessity of banning travel from certain countries in an attempt to slow down the virus. But many Americans became very frustrated when components of those 15 days stretched into years. And it should not have been the case that Americans
Pretty sure they called
were
Trump
forced to
racist
comply
also
with
for
oppressive
banning
mandates
China.
when
Like,
those who chose to illegally
people from
cross
China.
our southern border were not.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to call it the Kung Flu. Remember that?
Yeah. They were
Yeah.
definitely all over the Kung Flu. That's for sure. They were like, nope, can't allow it. Couldn't say China virus.
So this was the guy's it goes on like this for a couple more minutes. I realize now that I was listening to it on double speed and it was much better.
Mo better, yeah.
So I want to get to the good part though. This is
There
what
you go.
everybody in chat's blowing up about. This is the MTG clip that's going around, I'm sure. I've cut it out into 2 segments. So this first segment is her first being allowed to speak. So she goes hard, dude. She
I
makes
now
it great.
recognize Ms. Green from Georgia for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Fauci, you were quoted on CBS Face the Nation saying it's easy to criticize, but they're really criticizing science because I represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci?
I am a scientist who uses the scientific method to gain information.
Usually
Yes,
asked,
you
dude.
said you represent science. Do you represent science, Mr. Fauci? Yes
Again,
or no? Yes or no?
No, that's not a yes or no
Yes,
answer.
it's a yes or no.
I don't think
Pretty
it
yes or no
is.
question.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll take that as a you don't know what you represent.
Oh, I
Yeah.
But this, as director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover,
dogs.
I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on, and these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So
True.
the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent, and it needs to stop.
Okay, he's about to say, I don't know what the fuck this has to do with anything, but I just thought of something. If Trump does select Kristi Noem, how funny is it going to be to hold these clips of her saying that I'm a dog lover and this is disgusting if Kristi Noem gets selected? 'Cause
Yeah,
you
I mean-
know she'll defend it.
The Democrats brought that up too, like right after MTG. They were like, I'm surprised you
I'm a Democrat now.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah, I mean that's what they said. I'm surprised the Republicans are making arguments whenever they just had a memoir come out about shooting the dog. That's highly different than animal testing. I feel like MTG is doing a good job attacking the left from the left. I mean, a lot of people on the left are and even people in the middle are against this kind of level of animal testing for this
Yeah.
purpose.
It
I
is
mean,
always going to be hard for me to take MTG seriously because I almost view her identically to like a Sarah Palin figure.
yeah.
She
No,
fills that role.
she's way more radical than Sarah Palin though, right? Like she's
Old
definitely-
no, see that's the thing. Old school Sarah Palin was just like this. But she was turned into the Sarah Palin we all know by the political system. It was wild.
The only Sarah Palin I know is from Nailin' Palin.
There you go. Yeah, Leighton's home teaming for Alaska right now. That's okay though. That's will allow.
Oh, Sarah Palin's an actual retard. I want to make that clear. Let me not mince words here, but
she could probably take. I mean, she's got the arms, dude. You seen them arms? Anyway,
Mr. Fauci, you also represent the type of science where you confess that you made up the COVID rules, including
I didn't hear what you
6
said.
feet social distancing and masking of children.
I never said I made anything up.
You admitted that you made it up. You
I
made it
didn't
up
say
as you went.
I made it up.
So are you saying
What'd
this
you
is
say?
fake news, Mr. Fauci?
I didn't say I made anything up.
What did you say?
I said that it is not based in science and it just appeared.
But this is science.
Come on, dude.
What does dogs have to do with anything that we're talking about today?
These are scientific experiments. This is what you signed off on. But you also told the American people they had to distance by 6 feet. They had to wear a mask. But let's also talk a little bit further.
And he said, if you criticize me, you're criticizing science. He's acting like he had no role in this fucking thing. During the entire hearing, like, you didn't watch the whole thing, I did. This kept coming up. The Republicans kept smacking him over this six foot distancing rule. And every single time he's like, it wasn't me. It was the CDC. The CDC said it, not me. When I said that it was, quote, made up, what I mean was that there was no control study between whether or not 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, 5 feet, what the difference was. That's what I meant by saying the 6 feet was arbitrary and made up. Meanwhile, this motherfucker was going on TV every single day talking about the importance of social distancing and why it needed to happen. And it ruined. You have to remember, like, the masking was one thing. The social distancing of the 6 feet is what killed businesses. This is what killed everything, because they couldn't have people sitting in restaurants. You couldn't have them sitting in closed doors. You couldn't have all this stuff going on because they had to maintain the 6 feet, the spacing. He's acting like he had nothing to do with it. Now he's trying to shift blame. Oh, it wasn't me. Oh, it wasn't me. Yes, it was, motherfucker.
Like
No
he wasn't
quarter
the
for
face
Fauci.
of it. Like he wasn't the face directing even public opinion at the time. Like whatever Fauci said, if you were on that side of the argument, you were kind of like listening to him in your state and your governors for like what to do and what direction to go in, you know, and to act like he had no say. I mean, he was the head of the NIH while they were doing the gain of function research, which they changed the definition of to make it not meet gain of function research before his first congressional meeting with Rand Paul when he smacked him down. So this guy's just dirty. I can't wait to break into that RFK book that he was giving out for free, The Real Anthony Fauci, going back to when he was in charge of the AIDS epidemic. Oh my God, I'm so excited to read that book.
Yeah.
About the type of science that you represent. NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from drug makers, a fact that's been hidden. Let's talk about the fact about, is it right for scientists and doctors getting paid by the American people, government taxpayer paychecks, to get patents where they're paid millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in royalty fees, especially when the NIH and these government agencies, most powerful agencies in our country, are recommending medical suggestions and advice and making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor. You're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes. No, I don't need your answer. I want to talk about this right here.
Mr. Chairman,
Fauci,
objection.
Mr. Chairman, I reclaim my time. I reclaim my time, Mr. Raskin.
Gentlelady was
I ain't done, bitch.
Mr. Chairman,
of order.
Just in terms of the rules of decorum, are we allowed to deny that a doctor is a doctor just because we don't want him to be a doctor?
Yeah, right.
Yes, because in my time, that man does not deserve to have a license. As a matter of fact, it should be revoked, and he belongs in prison.
Suspend.
So that's where I'm gonna cut the first clip. But she's like, nah, that motherfucker doesn't deserve a license. He deserves to be in prison.
Yep.
Dude, Palin would not go that far. I don't care. Early Palin never.
He would not.
Not even with those arms.
That's right.
No.
Dude. Yeah, so then they go into, we just got through convention, so I skipped past all of the procedural bullshit on what the rules are and how we're going to decide who can say what. And we'll just get right into the other fun stuff.
This was a time in history where you got to throw out the first pitch at the Washington Nationals baseball game while Americans were forced to stay home and watch such events that they love from at home alone on their televisions. And what a hypocrisy this picture shows. Here you are without your mask, with empty seats everywhere. Remember the cardboard cutout fans? That was one of the most insulting things to Americans, having to watch the games from home, where you got to go and enjoy the game and sit right next to people not following the 6 feet of distancing, not wearing your mask, and everyone else was forced to stay home and stop enjoying life. And your science here, your science does display
Throw it all in his
perfectly in this picture, where
This is
children,
exactly it, dude.
children in school were put in plastic bubbles because of your science. Your repulsive, evil science. And let's go back to your very own email. You said earlier you don't use email. Oh, you do. Right here.
Oh, you do?
This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions, while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma. You know that what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Hit him again with it. Hit him again with it. That's good.
Yeah, man. Gotta hold these people fucking accountable. We were talking about people using the state against their enemies in some way. Some people kind of fucking deserve it, and Fauci's one of those fucking people, I think.
Magoo says death by space laser. That would be insane. You want to flex on Saudi Arabia?
You need MTG to team up with Palin to get access to HARP to actually create the space laser.
Dude. Yeah.
Well, Spike's got it already, right? He's got the button. I've seen it. All right, you guys. So who's this? Have you guys ever heard of this guy, Dr. McCormick? He's some representative.
Oh, I saw this clip earlier. This is one of the ones I watched. This guy was very good.
No,
I'd never heard of him before this, but
I think his family makes pepper.
Yes. All right, you beat me to it. Damn it.
Now recognize.
Yeah, I never heard of him before this, but he does an excellent job.
Dr. Wenstrup, Chairman. It's been insinuated that politicians, only bloggers, only conspiracy theorists are disagreeing with you. I want to point out that I'm probably the only member of Congress that actually treated patients during the pandemic from the very beginning to the very end of the pandemic. During night shifts in the ER. Thousands of patients during that time. And in 2020, I was censored. My medical license was threatened because I disagreed with bureaucrats.
Oh, hang on a second. Boys.
You skipping around?
Nope. Sorry, guys. You guys could probably hear it, but you couldn't see it.
Threatened
Here we go.
because I disagreed with bureaucrats. Literally taken off the internet as a person who is treating patients with leading-edge technologies, developing theories, but doing my very best, but being censored by the United States government for the first time, stepping in and taking the place of medical professionals as the experts in healthcare. Any dissent surrounding COVID-19 treatments, mask mandates, and any public policy surrounding the pandemic was immediately labeled as anti-science. I watched as public health officials and politicians told my patients what treatment options were best for them, regardless of their comorbidities or their medical history. Despite my education and my training and my experience, my opinions were relegated to conspiracy and misinformation by so-called healthcare experts who had never treated a patient throughout the entire pandemic. This has been a black eye on the medicine and has highlighted why government should never insert itself in between patients and their health care providers. The American people deserve to make medical decisions through conversations with their physicians rather than politically motivated mandates. Dr. Fauci, did you ever treat a patient for COVID during the pandemic?
No. I was part of a team that was at the NIH that took care. We didn't take care of many of them.
Okay, so not hands-on. Got it. Thank you. Why would
shut his ass up,
I
dude.
be criticized
Said, shut the fuck up.
by a bureaucrat for doing my very best as a healthcare? This is a rhetorical question. But why? Why would the government, who's never treated a patient for COVID, you can read all the things you want, but you're not there. You're not seeing patients. You're not watching people die.
You don't know
Intubating
shit.
patients right there with that disease in your face, watching it happen, watching the development of this disease and actually learning from it. But I'm being told by bureaucrats what's right and wrong. And what's funny is everything I was censored on, I was proven to be right.
Kind of like the stuff that we brought up during the Jeffrey Hahn thing. You remember? Well, our channel gets punished for shit.
We got a strike for that, or we got a warning for that, right?
Guess what? We were right.
Like months later. That was like last week. We got a strike for that. That was like
yeah. They're still
that was like episode
persecuting
60.
people. They're still persecuting people. Yeah.
Pretty crazy, isn't it?
And that's with the whole Twitter files thing. They were directing social media companies like Twitter, like Facebook, obviously, like YouTube, to censor all of this stuff. So if you have anything to say about it, you got shadow banned or you got a strike on your channel or something like that. The government was controlling the narrative through companies. That's why whenever like left libertarians argue like you should let private corporations do no, it's a fascistic system where the government's telling the corporation what the fuck to do. And it's pretty obvious. I don't see how you can't see through that veil.
In an interview that you gave as part of an audiobook written by Michael Spector.
Oh, this is good.
That you believed an institutional should make it hard for people to live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it. I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that
Fuck
term.
that guy.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit. And they
Oh,
get
I remember
vaccinated.
when he said this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological bullshit, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and
Thank
that's
you.
not what I was referring to.
Well, in
Pretty-
reference
it sounded
to
like it.
making it hard for people to get
It's
education.
never the way it's never his intention. Like every
Right.
time they pin him up, he's like, yes, but that wasn't my intention. It's terrible.
Always some
Easily.
weaselly way out of it. Hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and take off. It was great coming on and talking to you guys. I'll come on another stream too, but I have
Thanks
to go
for coming on.
shop real quick.
Plug your campaign and your podcast.
If you want to go to the podcast and YouTube stuff, just go to outlawedthoughts.com or search Outlawed Thoughts on YouTube. And then for campaign stuff, just look at my Twitter because I'm going to be putting stuff up on there soon with like websites and donation stuff and all that. And that is at Liberty Layton.
Boom.
We're definitely going to have you on when you finish your documentary, so get it done.
Yes, I'm getting it. I'm getting it done.
Can we do a watch along with the documentary? That sounds cool.
That would be that would be great. That would be something that could be fun. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like a director's, like a, you know. How
Yeah,
they do,
like a
the
director's cut.
Yeah,
Ooh,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Cool. Thanks for stopping by.
I will talk to you guys later. Peace.
All right. See ya.
Adios.
Now,
You got to get us right on the camera situation, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I was not
It's
expecting-
live. It's live, everybody. Give us a moment to get back right.
I gotta get this one. This is the one I need. Rob name. I'm trying to get some music going in the background here. There you go. Questions for Rob. How about that?
Questions from bring it on. I'm gonna have to dip out at 7 too.
I hate all of you guys.
The LNC, take it up with the LNC and your newly elected board. I have to attend the first meeting, so sorry.
I didn't elect any of these people.
No, you didn't. You weren't. You're part of the problem.
I guess so. That's what I'm told anyway. What is the meeting tonight about while I fix this?
It's the first meeting. I can pull up the agenda, but like there was a flood of like 100 emails. So I was like, fuck that. I'm going to look at it.
Oh, I don't want to kick him from the server. I just want to disconnect him.
Kick him from the server.
Yeah, join the Discord server if you're not in there already, just because you never know. There's always some good stuff in there. We've been having a lot of great debates after the whole LP thing. Center Horizon, here we go. I got you. You're almost there, dude. We're almost there. This is why we can't add and subtract people during the show. All right, let's transition. Boom, there you are. All right, we're here. We're back.
Traveling, working, I'd say it very much was in context. And I take great offense to this. Miss Allison Williams testified before this committee about losing her job because she sought an exemption for ESPN's vaccine mandate, which came from recommendations from bureaucrats like yourself. She and her husband were actively working with a fertility expert, a physician, on how to get pregnant, and agreed with the premise that she was young, healthy, wanted to get pregnant, and shouldn't get the vaccination for medical purposes. But she was fired because you made it hard, just like you said in your statement, because you didn't want to make sure that the ideological bullshit got in the way of her working.
That's right.
Of living her life, of making a medical decision with her healthcare professional. I think America should take great offense to this. That's exactly what you meant when you said making it hard for people to live without getting a vaccination. You affected people's ability to work, travel, be educated, to actually flourish in American society, to self-determine, as well as given God-given rights. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci, you've become Dr. Fear. Americans do not hate science. I don't hate science.
That's good.
American people hate having their freedoms taken from them.
Yeah,
You inspired and created fear through mass mandates, school closures, vaccine mandates that have destroyed the American people's trust in our public health institutions. This fear you created will continue to have ripple effects over generations to come. You have already seen its effects in education, in the economy, and everything else. Quite frankly, you said, if you disagree with me, you disagree with science.
Yep.
Dr. Fauci, I disagree with you because I disagree with fear. And with that, I yield.
Rich McCormick, dude.
Yeah, I didn't know who this fucking guy was before this, but I'm gonna be following him some more because
yeah, that's pretty solid. Does he have a good Twitter?
I don't know. I have no idea. He's probably a fucking asshole. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But dude was fucking on fire, man. And,
never meet your heroes.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, during the Fauci shit, I mean, he was on point. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that something actually comes of this. You know, the whole thing about the whole Fauci testimony or trial or whatever. Like I said, the aim of the committee was to figure out the truth behind the lab leak theory. And Fauci's now trying to say, like, you know, during COVID, he was like, you know, there was other people brought up comments where he said, I won't even read a scientific study that considers the lab leak theory because they're just conspiracy theorists. They're just out there with it.
Right.
And so
when he knew, like, because we had access to it pretty early on, that 3 or 4 of the Chinese workers in that facility went to the hospital, and a couple of them died of COVID-like symptoms.
Yeah.
And even people like Jon Stewart pointed out fairly early on that
hey, there's this fucking lab right next door that does research on this exact thing.
Right. And, you know, when I heard that was all I needed to hear. It's like almost common sense, you know, like it could be a wet market, but they've been doing that for thousands of years, you know, or maybe one of those beagles got shipped over with COVID and they ate it. I don't know. But the lab seems like the top suspect.
It wasn't a far stretch, but you were treated like an asshole if you brought it up. You're like, oh, you're just a racist against the Chinese people. Like,
Dude,
no.
I was dating this girl during the COVID pandemic, and her family always wanted me to get the vaccine, worried about where I was going. And when I brought up, like, Fauci's a cuck, or I didn't say those exact words, I was like, Fauci sucks. This thing came from a lab in China. They're like, this dude's crazy. Why are you talking to this guy? And I was like, whatever, yo. I'm not getting vaccinated. You can
do what you want.
Choose to have me at dinner or not. I don't know.
Yeah, and what's crazy too is like there's you got to watch it because there's so many different like points throughout it where he's just like, well, yeah, our mistake, because they were like I said, the lessons were to see if the lab leak theory was real, but then also to see like what the lessons from COVID were. That's like the purpose of this committee, is those two objectives. And so like throughout it, he's like, what are some of the Democrats are like asking like, what about the mandates for the vaccines and stuff, or there's some mistakes made there or whatever. And he goes on to say like, well, yeah, the thing that we underestimated was how long the vaccine would actually protect you. And then like other people jumped in and like, no, it didn't protect. Like, that's the whole point. So it's an interesting hearing. It's unfortunate though, because I really don't think that anything's going to come to Dr. Fauci. In fact, like, I think it's more likely that Fauci will be looked to for the next pandemic, just like he was for AIDS and everything else.
Yeah, if another pandemic comes under Trump, like, is Fauci going to be the guy? I don't think so.
Not under Trump, no, but under Biden, yeah.
I don't know. I kind of think, and I know Trump didn't do it last time, but like this time with him getting convicted and stuff like that, I think he's less likely to play around.
Yeah, maybe, but
maybe.
I don't know. We'll see who he picks for his VP. If he picks Rubio or somebody like that, then SOL.
Yeah, I feel like he should have already picked his VP. I mean, Vivek is my favorite choice out of anyone, and then maybe Tulsi, but I would much rather prefer Vivek.
Well,
Vivek.
To be fair, technically he doesn't have the nomination just yet.
Right. Yep. So yeah. RNC's coming up, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. All right. So one person that was extremely outspoken during the whole COVID era, who was probably putting out some messaging that the LP should have been putting out, if we're being honest, was our favorite friend, Alex Jones. Alex Jones made news this week because he put out an emergency broadcast over the weekend saying that Infowars was being shut down, or was being targeted for a shutdown by federal officials. During his emergency broadcast, he made comments like, "This is going to be Infowars' last show because I learned yesterday that they're going to padlock the door and kick us out. We're going to beat these people. I'm trying not to be dramatic, but it's been a hard fight. I've been targeted for abuse. I was duped by someone. Federal files in secret have claimed that I'm committing crimes. It's untrue." I watched the whole thing because I don't know about you, Rob, but Infowars is something that's near and dear to my heart. I've followed and I'm not even kidding. Like Infowars, I watched Infowars probably since 2012 and onward.
I used to watch it a lot, back in 2016, and then I kind of hopped on the Dave Smith train. But I was watching it and listening to it more so on podcast form a lot, because it's just entertaining. Other than the fact that he's right about a lot of things, he's been right about a lot of things, and he's on the opposite side of spectrum of Fauci, right?
Right. Yeah, and so. I really like Alex Jones. I think that he goes off the rails sometimes. I think he over exaggerates about a lot of shit. But like you said, I think he's right about more than he's wrong about. And anybody who's listened to his show for a long period of time, I bought bathwater and everything. I did buy X2. Is that the bathwater? Yes, I did buy that. I bought
Alex Jones bathwater.
I bought the toothpaste. I bought I bought a bunch of stuff.
Did you buy the colloidal silver? Did you turn blue?
Well, that was the X2, wasn't it? The X2, X3, or whatever the fuck they're on now.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I bought the iodine one time.
Alex Jones is the true valuetainment. Absolutely, dude. He's very entertaining. A lot of the stuff he does it on purpose, and longtime viewers will know that. because he talks about it. He's like, I do this on purpose just to get their attention. Watch this. And then he does something ridiculous. And then sure enough, that was always the stuff that got picked up. And then he would close it out and say, see, I told you.
Yeah.
But anyway, I watched the entire broadcast because like I said, I'm sentimental about the whole thing. If they end up taking InfoWars down, I want to see the last episode. I want to see how I want to see how it ends. And so I watched the whole thing, and Alex is great, but he's terrible at explaining the situation. So this is during the show. There's some developments that happened during the story, but I kind of want to open it with this because this was during the show, and this is his best attempt at trying to explain what happened, and he ends up going full Alex Jones on it. So here we go.
So I'm going to explain it real slow for you.
Okay.
Pat. I'll be on Tucker Carlson in 3 days if I want to. I'll be on Joe Rogan if I want to. I can put this out 1,000 places. You're a fool. The internet's meant to take a nuclear strike to keep information going. So this building, I'm sentimental about it. I care about the crew. We've got a great team. I don't want that to happen. But you have to understand that you've crossed the Rubicon here, buddy boy.
Huh?
And so now you're in a real world situation. So this is all about, you're going to creep around in the background. You're going to do all this stuff. No, you're not. Where's my phone? I'll pull up the other stuff right now. Okay?
Tranny porn.
That ain't a threat. I'm telling you that you're the one starting a fight with me. You're the one with your screwball leftist friends that thinks I'm here as a fucking goddamn doormat. Get it straight, son. I'm not a doormat. You think you're smarter than me? I'm kind of retarded. You think you're better than me? You think you know more than me? You're full of shit. He went around 2 weeks ago when he was here.
This has to be on your soundboard.
And so now you're in a real world situation.
I like that. Go back.
So this is all about, you're going to creep around in the background. You're going to do all this stuff. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Where's my phone? I'll pull up the other stuff right now.
Yeah.
That ain't a threat. I'm telling you that
it doesn't matter. It's still entertaining.
You're the one starting a fight with me. You're the one with your screwball leftist friends that thinks I'm here as a fucking goddamn doormat. Get it straight, son.
Get it straight.
I'm not a doormat. You think you're smarter than me? You think you're better than me? You think you know more than me? You're full of shit. He went around 2 weeks ago when he was here. He's here like every 2 weeks, sitting on his ass, getting $50,000 a month. And he went around to the crew members and told them that I deserve to be in jail, that I'm killing people because I'm not promoting the vaccine. Hey, dumbass, 4% of people are taking the new shot. There's lawsuits everywhere. They admit it's killing people. I'm right. You're wrong. But even if I was wrong, this is my company. I have a right to say it. And you think going around to my crew undermines me, or maybe you wanted to piss me off and have me go off half-cocked. Well, guess what? I ain't going off half-cocked.
A little bit.
So I don't, at the end of the day, care about my life or anything or my treasure. I care about my sacred honor. I will pledge my life, my treasure on my sacred honor because you just dealt with 1776, the real McCoy. Okay? So keep trying to cupcake this around the sides and keep trying to run around like a chicken with your head cut off. You got Godzilla coming out of the ocean in Tokyo, okay? I will not sit here and be pushed around and lied about and screwed over anymore. Comprende?
Huh?
So that's how this works. That's how this goes down. I don't expect anything except making sure you get exposed no matter what happens to me because my integrity is absolutely 110% paramount. So that's where this is. And I'm sitting here with the crap you pulled and the things you did that I told my lawyers about. Like he came in my office and he said, listen, Alex, like 3 months ago, we're friends. Why don't you just keep money aside deals? I don't care. I'm like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick because I'm not sitting there like record. I come back. Oh, tell me that again. Yeah, it's over. Okay, it's over. Game over. Game over. Game over. I think by the end of this show, we'll just play it for you. So keep playing your fucking games with me. Okay, game's over. Games are over. You want the real Alex Jones? You got one right now. Because I was focused on the New World Order, on George Soros, on King Charles, on Tedros, on Bill Gates, on big enemies of the people. My job wasn't sitting here running around while I'm getting stabbed in the side by a Lilliputian worrying about what's happening to me. But now at the end of this operation, I will not sit here and comply with lies.
Alex is entertaining as fuck, but he's terrible at explaining his point.
Yeah, no, like I don't like he might have got to it in the. Did he actually get to it eventually?
I have another clip of somebody else doing it for him.
Okay,
Yes.
roll that clip real quick. 'Cause
Yeah.
I got 7 minutes till I got to roll.
Okay, all right, we can skip ahead. Yeah, so he had on Viva Barnes or not Viva Barnes,
Robert
Viva,
Barnes,
Viva Fry and Robert Barnes. He had both of them on to kind of explain it, so we'll try to get through it here. I'm gonna speed it up.
The problem and the risks of the bankruptcy process.
That's okay. That's okay.
Like the bankruptcy under the U.S. Constitution, the power to regulate bankruptcy is given to Congress to pass certain laws. Congress has passed those laws to provide for you bankruptcy being an option to resolve when your debts exceed your income stream over a certain time frame, whether you're an individual or a business. And what's supposed to happen once Alex Jones and Infowars filed for bankruptcy protection, then the obligation of the bankruptcy court, the obligation in this case of the creditors, the obligation of
This is
the
all
other
important setup
officials
to the whole story.
associated or affiliated with the bankruptcy court,
Yep, sorry, guys.
or appointed by power of the bankruptcy court. All of those people have an ethical and professional and legal obligation. One could even argue constitutional obligation because of the origins of bankruptcy laws to maximize the value of the estate. And what, in the case of Alex Jones and Infowars, is maximizing the value of the state? It's improving and increasing the reach of Infowars. It's improving and increasing the reach of Alex Jones. And it is in particular protecting the biggest and best asset for either Alex Jones or Infowars, which is Alex Jones. Alex Jones is their asset. Separate assessments had been made in prior legal proceedings that showed the economic value of Infowars was entirely Alex Jones, and that Alex Jones is valued.
My name doesn't even come up.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Could be quite substantial. And so that's what they're supposed to be doing. And now the problem is the principal unsecured creditors, the plaintiffs' lawyers, have never, in my opinion, cared about their own clients.
But it's not your opinion. It's not your opinion. They said on the courthouse steps in Texas and Connecticut, we don't want money. We want to shut him down. So because the law says they've actually got to try to get money, they act like they do, but that's it. There's no settlement.
That's their fiduciary obligation. That's their professional obligation to their client, is to maximize recovery for their client. But they've admitted in multiple public proceedings and public statements that that's not their goal. Their goal is to shut down Alex Jones, to shut down Infowars, to shut down the most important dissident opinion on the right concerning issues of the war and the surveillance state and the deep state. That's always been their objective. And they just use the families as cover, as a fig leaf for that politically motivated objective. The bankruptcy laws expose that, because we got to witness over the last 2 years, would they fight to maximize value, which meant maximize the value of Alex Jones, maximize the value of Infowars, or would they instead use the bankruptcy proceedings to try to do what they were always about, shutting down and silencing Alex Jones?
And because they couldn't find a crime, now they're
the
just going to try
Alex
to
is
fix it,
trying
and
to
they thought they'd
explain.
sneak in and just shut it down Friday. Why would they do this now, Robert? They seem really panicked.
Well, the timing is quite obvious. So, I mean, for those that don't understand the protocol, what happens is you basically have someone who controls the money, controls the bank accounts, that is a hybrid. There's someone that may be recommended by the debtor, but they have to be approved of effectively by the bankruptcy court and to some degree by the creditors. And so you have somebody who controls the money. And if his goal was to maximize the monetary value of Infowars and Alex Jones, he would have done things radically different over the last 2 years than what he's actually done.
He cut everything off. I mean, we go on the road, we make tons of money. Everything was cut off. He just said, no to 12 million. Ad agencies are a fraud. And I said, ad agencies are, these are accredited companies. These are $1 billion. No, we're not. It's all over. He just cut everything off.
And he's using and weaponizing his access and control of the bank account to tell the security team whose funds he controls, whose paychecks he controls, you're going to lock up and padlock Infowars and you're going to do it at my order because I control whether or not you get paid or not, even though there's no court order that justifies it, even though it's directly contrary.
All right, I'm going to cut off Alex because he's just going to keep ruining the explanation of what's happening.
Yeah.
But basically, what's happening is the CRO, the guy who's in charge of renegotiating the company's finances to make sure that Alex Jones plaintiffs get paid, right? He lost the civil case and he owes them $1.5 billion. And so this guy is supposed to be there to make sure, ironically enough, that Alex Jones makes as much money as possible. And that way that the defendants can get, or the plaintiffs or whoever can get paid as much as possible, right? That's what they're supposed to be there doing. Instead, Alex says they're sabotaging the whole thing. They're not letting them go on the road. They're not letting them go on the ground reporting like they're famous for, or doing any kind of the radical shit that they want to do. In fact, they're making arguments like, we should get rid of our host. We should get rid of Alex Jones, even though Alex Jones is Infowars. Right. Like you can't. It's like getting rid of James O'Keefe from Veritas. What happened to that?
It's also his workplace, and I'm not overly familiar with bankruptcy law, but when you go bankrupt, you don't stop working. They don't take your place of work from you. They're taking his only form of income away from him. Not only form, but his main source of income away from him. That seems like it's not a normal thing that they would do if you go bankrupt. Now, correct me if I'm wrong on that, but
unless your goal is like Robert Barnes was just saying, unless your goal the whole time was to shut down Infowars.
That was the goal. I mean, yeah. The feds are thinking like playing 4D chess on them. They're like, we're gonna get you in this Sandy Hook trial, and then afterwards, when you can't pay that $1.2 billion amount, we're gonna come after everything you got. So I feel like they were already planning on doing that.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, so like the day it came out, there was a bunch of people, like the day that he did his emergency broadcast. I have the timeline in our notes. So on Saturday, he does his emergency broadcast. And on Saturday, everybody's like, you're full of shit. Like, you're hyping this up. It's all a bunch of crap. Yeah. Like, you're not actually being shut down. Well, on Sunday, the Sandy Hook relatives asked bankruptcy judge to liquidate Alex Jones' company, meaning shut down the broadcast and sell the building because we don't think we're going to get 1.5 out of this. We need you to just sell the assets you have now and pay us out for what you have. So tomorrow's news today, once again, in Alex Jones fashion, he comes out he busts just a little too early.
Yeah.
So they apparently the CRO guy, according to Alex Jones, the CRO guy had the security team there whose paychecks he controlled. He told them, hey, we're going to shut down the building early. Maybe he had some inside track to know that the Sandy Hook families were going to come after him and say, we want to liquidate everything the next day. But that's what happened. And so Alex Jones barred himself up in the building or whatever and stayed there overnight and stayed on air to make sure that no one shut them down. And then come Sunday, they find out like, oh yeah, the families did want to actually liquidate the company, shut it down, get rid of the building, fire the employees, do everything they had to do to maximize the value that was there currently. Luckily for Alex Jones, as an update, as of yesterday, the judge ruled in favor of Alex and rejected the call to liquidate Alex Jones and Infowars. He gave them 2 weeks. That's the TLDR of this article. He's got 2 weeks to figure it out. So on June 14th, the judge is expected to make another ruling as to whether or not Infowars will be liquidated. Alex ain't going anywhere. He was like in the first clip, what he was trying to say was, they can shut us down tomorrow. I'll be fine. I could go on Tucker Carlson. PBD might fucking hire him. There could be all kinds of different things. Like PBD will definitely make the offer. Whether or not Alex accepts it is a whole nother scenario. But he'll be fine. He's going to have a show regardless. But, you know,
can you imagine him screaming at Cuomo like every other episode? God.
That's the thing with Alex. He's just as bad as PBD at explaining shit. I don't think he would be very, very good there. But, I don't know. I thought, and it's interesting too, I don't know if you noticed this on Twitter, But the day Alex went live with the emergency broadcast and all that kind of stuff, there were people like Equal and others who were saying that this guy, you know, he fucking deserves it. Fuck Alex Jones. I hope he gets the fucking boot. Like, like all this kind of stuff. I think that that's kind of revealing. No matter what you think about Alex Jones, I got mixed opinions on him myself. Like I said, I love the guy. I think he's full of shit sometimes, but he's very entertaining.
I mean, the Sandy Hook stuff was very egregious, but like other than that, he's a political commentator.
Whatever.
And they're trying to shut down his you know, speech as a journalist.
It can be egregious. Does he have the right to say it? Should he be persecuted for saying it?
No, yeah. No, I'm there with you. I'm just saying.
So that's my point. And you have, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just saying the whole thing is to shut him down.
My only thing with that was saying I think people are revealing themselves is my point. And there's a lot of people who are reacting to this in a very mask off kind of way. They're revealing themselves in who they are. They don't actually care about free speech. They don't actually care about, you know, liberty or whatever. They have their own ideas and their own agendas. And if you don't stand with Alex Jones, I don't trust you. I'm not saying you have to agree with everything that he says. What I'm saying is, if you don't agree with Alex Jones' right to say what he wants to say, then I don't think that you actually believe in liberty. I think you're full of shit.
I'm with you there. I mean, if you're free Assange or free, you know, Ross Ulbricht, you should also be on the side of not shutting down speech in the form of Alex Jones as a journalist. Yeah, but I gotta go because I'm already 5 minutes late. I would like to cover the Super Mayor update, but you know, if you're gonna end it. But if you're gonna cover that, my plea is to kick it to the next episode.
Oh my gosh. What time is your shit over?
I don't know. It's my first meeting. So
oh God fucking damn it. I really want to do the Super Mayor stuff because I think you're gonna like it. But
well, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it.
We have been going over an hour though, so it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. And
no, we're gonna wrap it because I want you to be there. It's your girl, man. It's your girl.
I know. Thank you. We'll do that next. We'll do that next episode. I gotta get out of here, so I'm gonna plug R Vincent Comedy. Go follow me, like and subscribe, share this. We're almost to 500 subscribers on YouTube. Once we get there, barring any other strikes or warnings, we can get some sponsors on this thing. But yeah, I'm out. Thanks, Tim.
See ya. Yeah, and we're gonna go ahead and end the show there. I didn't want to, but Rob's got to go, so is what it is. I wanted to get into the Super Mayor stuff. I had a show planned, and everything fell apart. We went early because we were trying to beat the storm. We were trying to get ahead of it, and then Leighton ran late, and a whole bunch of stuff. Anyways, when you gotta go, you gotta go. That's right. That's right. I don't want to go, but we gotta go. The Super Mayor stuff is pretty good. I had some other stuff too, some immigration updates, Joe Biden's recent executive order on all that kind of stuff. That's what happens. You try to run a professional show, and these motherfuckers, dude. These motherfuckers. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, everybody. We'll be back soon. Make sure that you're subscribed and make sure you're in the Discord. I want to start doing, because I want to do more professional shows and I want to have more current updates on developing news stories and things. I really think that I need to start doing like my own like impromptu live things, like live streams, and just cover like basic news, like have my talking points for whatever the story is, but then just go live, turn the camera on and do it. Y'all let me know what you think about that. I'm going to wrap the show up. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're on the Discord. I'll be hanging out in the after party room, and we can chat about some of this kind of stuff. Anyways,